Okay. Good evening. I'd like to call the October 16th, 2018 Board of Selectmen's meeting to order. Can we all please stand for the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I don't have any announcements this evening. Is there anybody here for anything that's not currently listed on our agenda? Seeing as none, I'm going to move right into item 1, which is accept the deed for the North Village Playground parcel from attorney,
Likely.
Thank you, and possible votes.
Do you want me to say it, or do you want to say it? You want to say it? This item's actually going to be held over until the 23rd. The parties are
Unavailable?
no, they're getting some other things straightened out before they come to you.
Okay. All right. So we're not going to do any voting on it? We can pass it over then?
Yeah. Correct.
All right.
Well, Matt, is this the opinion, your opinion that the rec commission should formally weigh in on this?
Yeah.
So we should schedule that meeting?
Yeah, so we discussed a trip over there to look. There's a couple items that need to be finished, so it has to be done to your satisfaction before you accept it.
Very good.
All right. So we have the item 2 is scheduled for 7:15. Is there?
But he's here.
He is here. So we can just move into the special town meeting review with the town moderator. And
And just so you know, the clerk is on vacation. She was going to try to be here, but she let me know that she's probably not going to be here, right? Yeah.
okay. Can we move forward with just the moderator? How you doing, Keith?
Not bad. How about yourselves? All right, so I haven't seen any motions yet to review. It seems like we kind of have the bones of a meeting. So prior year bill, well, Article 1 is just transfers, pretty standard stuff that we see every year. Article 2 is just prior year bills. 3, putting money into OPEB. 4, stabilization. The VOC budget, why are we increasing that one? Do you know where the increase came from?
Yeah, I think the other towns had actually voted on the increase going to Blackstone Valley Tech.
So it's something that,
So
okay.
we're forced to do it.
Gotcha. The contract, if I can just make sure that we have a slide ready that has the before and the after, as I do with all the contract slides.
So now would probably be the time to start
Sure, I
going
think
over
it's a
that.
long time.
So we have not, at this point, I believe there's still negotiations that are going on. I'm actually entertaining or proposing a motion to strike that ratification of the firefighters' contract, and then we'll readdress it at spring meeting if they can manage to come to a consensus on if they choose to vote on that contract or not.
Okay, keep me posted. The 5-year contract with Charter, what does that pertain to?
I actually can't even answer questions on that. I have to recuse myself because of my position.
Okay.
So, assuming that the chairman has recused himself, the town is renegotiating its arrangement with Charter Communications for the management of our wide area network and completely revamping the entire thing. The new service contract,
As it pertains to the entire town, or as it pertains
Town
to?
government.
Okay,
town government, the way our buildings connect to the internet and the way they connect to one another.
okay,
The model that was used was a corporate wide area network. It's way too expensive and unnecessary. We can reach the internet directly from our different buildings, still pull data here and dramatically increase our speeds for about the same or less money. If we do a 5-year agreement, since it's a monopoly anyway, we get a substantial discount. It's about $300 a month less But we don't have the authority to negotiate contracts longer than 3 years without town meeting.
But this is specifically for town government, not for, like.
Oh, no, it's got nothing to do with
Great.
folks at home.
Okay. The municipal energy agreement, is that the same one as we're in now? Or is that for, again, the building?
No, so I don't want to make this overly complicated, Mr. Moderator, but the town has a contract for energy that currently runs through 2021.
Okay.
We locked in a long-term rate with our provider, which is Hudson, at 9.6 cents, which is outrageously good. It's better than the town's aggregation rate for our residents, and it's substantially better than the National Grid standard offer. There's information in the marketplace that suggests that beginning January 1st, 2019, the Commonwealth is going to be adding fees, some renewable energy fees, into the cost of energy that will affect everyone, unless you're already in a contract. They will accept the fact that as long as you've entered into a contract no longer than 5 years, as of December 31st, 2018, you won't have to pay the fee.
Okay.
So in the interest of trying to save the town some money, we're looking for the authority to extend our contract, again, beyond 3 years, in order to be able to avoid that fee. The way this is going to work, our energy consultant will go to market right before town meeting, and they will determine what rates we could lock in if town meeting gave the administrator this authority.
The next day?
The next day, we would lock in the contract if town meeting votes yes.
Okay.
If the rates don't justify the move, we'll pass over this at town meeting.
Okay. And again, no, is this government-wide or is this town-wide? Is this
Government.
Government, okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So in the draft warrant, it says lease agreement with, and it's unnamed.
So we revised that, right? This is the
What?
one I changed today?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was looking at the other one. Enter the, no, which one are you?
Long-term
He's-
lease agreement
He's
with-
down to number 9, which
Yep.
is the, we didn't change that one. You
Well,
changed,
there's
you
no
changed
name.
number
With
8.
XXX, I imagine that's Douglas Axman Club?
Right,
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
you're skipping ahead
So
without
the
telling me where you are?
Yeah, sorry, no, you gave such an incredible explanation to Article 8 that there was, I thought it was assumed that we were done there.
Yeah, the Douglas Hacksmen have proposed a lease for undeveloped space on the Martin Road Recreation Facility for the construction of a soccer field.
Okay.
They would need a lease to do that. So that's an interest in real property, town meeting.
They currently have the property over behind the VFW as well, right? Are those two things mutually exclusive? They are, okay.
For the lease, they're making the improvements to the,
They're building the
Right.
field,
Yeah,
whereas I imagine back in the day, the town built the VFW field.
I don't know. I'll look to,
Help?
they be-
Yeah.
Would they be surrendering the VFW field and moving all of their?
No.
No.
no, the objective here is to get the teams off the schools' fields.
Got it.
so they would be using both fields is
Yes.
the general idea. Okay. Article 10 is blank.
No, supplement green communities funding.
Yeah, that's all it says.
Oh,
I mean,
no.
I guess you guys were saving ink.
No, what
Being
we're
a green
doing
community.
is, I'm going by what's up here. We haven't really filled in the wording. What's up here is placeholders.
Okay.
And then we're working on the wording and everything.
But I can't ask questions if I don't know what the word is.
Well, I don't either.
Well, that's okay.
What's the general idea?
In spring, I don't know if it was the special town meeting or if it was annual town meeting, authority was given for the town to use up to $40,000 in what is basically a float arrangement. We're getting grant funds on a reimbursement basis, but we need to front load that with some cash that will get paid back. The amount that we need to bank is actually going up because the town, through Bill Cundiff's efforts and our help at Central Mass Regional Planning, we've leveraged the 145 grand that we got from Community Compact to do over $200,000 worth of projects by getting other grants and getting utility incentives to support the activities. But what that means is we have more now that's reimbursable. So we're going to go up to 70, we probably only need 65-ish, but we'll go up to 70 and make sure we don't deficit spend it.
Do you see this becoming like a revolving fund, like the one of the enterprise funds?
I think every time we get a Green Communities Community Compact grant, we're going to have this issue because the utility company supports the conservation projects with a grant in kind. So that incentive we can't get until a project is completed. So somebody's paying for those bills until that money comes in at the end. So no matter, the more successful we are, the more we'll do this because we'll need to.
Sure.
But I'm actually pretty tickled to get over $200,000 worth of work done around the town for 145 grant to begin with, and none of it coming from the taxpayer.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm wondering if it doesn't make sense to, because I know, and again, this has nothing to do with my job, but at town meeting, we have the enterprise funds, which are, these revolving funds, and I don't know if something like that could apply to something like this.
I kind of had a similar conversation with the finance director about this, and I'll try to translate her feeling on it as accurately as I can. And I happen to agree with her. It's much better to have a single account, very clean. Don't let the utility companies cut the check directly to anybody. Have every single dime accounted for in the town and then reimbursed, cashed out every time you win the grant. That way, the accounting it's open, it's closed, and it's done.
Sure.
And I appreciate that. It's easier for the auditors to review.
You were talking about town meeting action, though, lumping them all in? Is that what-
Well, sort of. So, like when we run the transfer station, right? Like the transfer station has a revolving fund. The ambulance has a revolving fund, and it's just, money comes in, money goes out, so you're only reauthorizing it once a year, as opposed to having to, piecemeal it as everything goes.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was strictly an idea off the top of my head, but.
Sure.
Well, this is unexpected success, too. I don't think we anticipated being at this point. It's the bids came in for the streetlight project so low that we ended up with extra funds to apply to other things.
That's great.
Yeah, we found money. Gene's not here to stop this.
She's gonna find out.
I heard her head explode.
She
off in
shouldn't
the
go on
distance.
vacation if she doesn't want to hear it.
That's awesome.
I'm going on the record that I did not use that term.
She really is on vacation, but she was here for a few hours yesterday.
And when she comes back from vacation, anybody that used that term will be lit on fire in the public square.
Oh, yeah. I would not want to be on the other side of that. And then the marijuana bylaw, that looks to be all just the standard stuff that the lawyer came in and proposed and made some really bad pot jokes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought they were pretty good puns.
Okay. She was so happy she got to slip those in.
I know.
It was like that's what made it funny. Was she was like, oh, I got it. So that's really Article 11 and 12. Has the planning board made a recommendation on Article 13?
They have.
I'm sorry?
That's the zoning bylaw change?
Yes. Correct.
Yes. So we're going to be addressing that at 7:30, but I would not anticipate that being an article moving forward.
Okay. All right. So keep me posted. Let me know.
As soon as I have the motions, you will.
I would appreciate that. Any questions for me? So I would like to just reiterate that this was just something I said last week. I know a lot of people think that all the town's business is done at the annual town meeting. While we just breezed through this, kind of quickly from a procedural standpoint, there's some really weighty things that will direct the future of the town for decades to come in this special town meeting. So, I would always encourage participation and, more importantly, education about what some of these articles mean. So get informed and then show up and vote your conscience.
In Mr. Hughes' absence, he'll be reading most of the motions at town meeting.
Right. I had anticipated that. I think I had a call.
I really wouldn't have it any other way.
He was requesting.
And I believe Chris
13.
Chris Furno will be running town meeting. So
I'm
Thank
sure
you,
she'll be
guys.
thrilled.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you, Keith.
So, and I do have to wait for 7:30 on,
No, you do not.
I do not?
No. Suzanne Lucier is here. She's going to be the only one that is coming, so we can go ahead and
Okay.
do that now.
So that would be the right of first refusal on Ms. Lucier's 4+ acres on Maple Street and possible votes.
In your packet, you do have the notice of intent from Suzanne Lucier to sell, to take out of Chapter 61, 4+ acres of land. It has been reviewed by the Planning Board, Conservation Commission, and Open Space. All boards have said that they suggest that you waive your right of first refusal, meaning you do not purchase the land. So once you make a motion, then I will send a letter to her attorney with your decision.
I'd entertain a motion for that.
I move that we waive our right of first refusal for the land as set forth in the document.
Second. It's made by Dave and seconded by Hal. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. Suzanne, you're all set.
Thank you. Good luck.
So, I don't have to wait on the liquor license either?
No,
All right. So, change of manager for Gregory's Pizzeria and Restaurant.
although I did think he was coming in, so maybe we should wait just in case he comes in.
I
I'm
just
sorry.
asked you and you said
I know,
no.
I know. I wasn't thinking clearly.
Oh, boy.
All right. Probably have to wait on 5 as well?
Nope.
No? All right, so the proposed zoning bylaw warrant article and possible ethics issue and possible votes. So, and this is, Bill, you want to?
Sure.
Come on up.
You do have in your packet the planning board's decision, and I just received the Board of Health, so that's in there also.
Okay. And I'm assuming that Mr. Tassino and Ms. Sharkey will not be attending this evening, correct?
That is correct.
So, because I did have,
We sent a letter in about the conflict.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Understood on that part. So I know that there was one question that I had regarding it, but I think some of the decisions that came from planning and Board of Health may negate all of that. But I guess I would be curious as that there is a pending court decision that's sitting on a property, and I wanted to know if this bylaw change would impact that decision from the court in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, wasn't expecting that. I guess that there's a possibility. I mean, I haven't specifically looked at it, but I believe that that property that you're talking about would enjoy the benefit awarded from the proposed bylaw. So therefore, it may become a conforming lot.
Okay. So I will go on record stating that, based off of that, if it's a possibility, I don't feel that it is the Board of Selectmen or town meeting's jurisdiction to overturn what's coming out of the land court. So with that, I would be inclined to not move forward with that article off of that standing alone.
Well,
I think I would also go along with not taking any action, but I might disagree on the reasoning. I think almost every zoning bylaw change is put forth by people that want to have either have more say with their own property, so it's not uncommon to have that.
So I don't think that's disqualifying in of itself, but I think the recommendation was to send it to Central Mass Regional Planning, right?
Correct. Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So the planning board, as requested at your last meeting, the planning board reviewed the proposal, and in concept, they had some basic concerns about the time constraints in order to do a thorough review and understand the full ramifications of moving forward with the proposal. It came at the 11th hour, really, and that's what the concern was amongst all the board members. They, therefore, because they were already looking at a similar proposal, they asked CMRPC, the Regional Planning Commission, to help them draft a formal proposal, a proposal for bylaw change, and we did get a proposal from them totaling $15,000, which we were all shocked about. But then CMRPC was confident that they could cover that through grant funds, so it would not cost the town any additional funds other than, your state grants, state taxes. So the board wanted to do a comprehensive review, which is why they reached out to CMRPC to begin with. And they were targeting already the annual town meeting for having a deliverable. So nothing's changed with regard to that. We also sent a copy of the proposal to town council, and there were some language concerns that town council had with the ambiguity of some of the terminology in the proposed bylaw, which may have opened up properties that were really not intended to be considered under this bylaw. So, so the planning board's recommendation was to stay on track with CMRPC, still move forward. They'll investigate it, look for the grant funds to pay for the services, and then target the annual town meeting.
Okay.
I think the basic proposal has a lot of merit to it because you've got a lot of lots that are the same size in there, and it is difficult for people to go through the review process with changes. So I think it has merit, but I think it needs further study, so bring it up again in the annual, and probably will have some legs then, I hope.
Yeah, so it's too soon to tell, I guess, is where we look at it. Well, I would entertain a motion on removing it from the article, well, from the warrant.
So moved.
Second.
Made by Dave, seconded by Tim. Is there any further discussion on the matter? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
The manager is here now for Gregory's Pizza, if you'd like to
Sure.
go back to that item.
Come on up.
Poor guy.
What? Did you bring snacks?
No slices, no, like,
No pizza? It's 10 or late.
5 minutes we'll be here.
go get the pizza and come
Probably
back.
all know Mark. He's been the manager at Gregory's ever since,
2011.
yep, since they, Pope, what is it, Corellis?
Corellis, yeah.
Bought it. And now he's going to be taking over as the principal owner and manager still, but, so we're changing all that paperwork for ABCC for that.
Okay. Well, congratulations.
Poor condolences, one way or another. Could go either way.
Does this mean more hours for you?
Always more hours for me. Always more hours.
But the pizza's gonna stay good, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right,
good. I think everyone here knows that. Because they come into the store.
You guys missing out on the calzone.
I don't see any issues with the
I see no
application.
issues at all.
So,
I'll move approval.
Second.
it was made by Hal, seconded by Dave. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Congratulations.
Best of luck.
Sure, thank you.
Okay.
And next time, bring pizza.
I will in 10 minutes if you're still here.
I don't think so.
Probably not. Probably not.
Under $25?
Isn't it? Well, if it's illegal, you can take us in now.
I want the rec to reflect I didn't ask for it.
Well, there you go, Tim. Save yourself.
Small slice.
Well, you gonna bring some?
No.
No, we were joking.
You're all
Thank you
set.
very much.
Thank
Best of luck.
So you guys can sign the paperwork, please.
Sure. All right. It's close enough to 7:30.
Well, 1 minute, I think.
2.
What are you waiting
You're right, too.
I don't know, it just says 7:30 and a whole
Oh,
bunch
no,
of stuff's
we've
in
been
there.
all over the place.
All
so-
right, yeah,
We don't
have.
have a hearing. This is just so that people can get a general idea of when they should be here.
All right, so next is open the warrant, insert, remove articles, close and sign the warrant for November 13th. So, I don't even know where to start with this.
Well, in your packet, you have the, a memo from me showing you the changes in the warrant that were made from the last time that you saw it. We did add an Article 7, which is which we already went over with the moderator, enter into the 5-year contract with Charter, enter into a municipal energy agreement, enter into a long-term lease of certain property, and then the supplement the Green Communities funding. We also, the cable capital that was in the last warrant, we've taken that out, as well as the 2 water sewer main works, they were removed also.
Thank you.
And then the following changes were made on Article 1. We removed, or increase Norfolk County agricultural was removed, increased debt was removed, increased technology expense was added, and increased public building maintenance expenses was added. On your Article 2 for prior bills, we did add 2 new invoices.
So, do I actually require a motion to open the warrant?
You have to open the warrant in order to reinsert the new articles that we added.
So I'll make a motion that we open the November 13th warrants.
Second.
It's made by Tim, seconded by Dave. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Now you'd make a motion to insert those articles and remove, well, you already removed one, but
So actually, it'd be another time, as I discussed earlier, is looking at, well, let's add the stuff first, and then I'll go over what I'd like to go over.
Yep.
How's that?
So I would like to add to the 11-13 special town meeting warrant, Articles 7, 8, and 9 as they appear in our packet,
and 10.
and 10.
Second. Sorry.
It was made by Tim, seconded by Dave. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
So, and in, as I'd alluded to when the town moderator was sitting in front of us, we have Article 6 in front of us, which my understanding is that we have not reached an agreement as of yet with the firefighters union.
Mr. Chairman, the town has tendered to the union side what we've called a final offer, which represents the 3rd comprehensive firefighter contract I've negotiated in the last 5 years with 3 different communities, Woonsocket, Tiverton, and now Douglas. In my opinion, it is a very solid agreement that has been proposed by the town. It includes a number of forward-thinking, and I would go so far to say progressive thinking, provisions that will put us in good stead to compete for talent at the medic and firefighter level, and will allow for the smooth operation of a professional department. Not to fault the other side unnecessarily, I will say this much, that as this board is well aware, as we have gone through this process, we being Selectman Davis, not Selectman Davis, I'm looking at Selectman Davis, Selectman Cortez, David Cortez, which is where I was going.
You were close. Same ball.
Selectman Cortez, Chief Vincent, and I have kept you apprised of the different provisions. And at times, when we've gone to the table to either accept or reject proposals from the other side, the selectmen have been made aware, and you've also been made aware of the drafts of the document that have been circulated to you. So your negotiating team has kept you apprised. Unfortunately, I don't think the other side has managed its work in the same way. Perhaps because of the way unions are structured, the leadership will negotiate the deal and go to state contacts for review. That takes time, and we've run the clock a bit in the last couple of weeks to put us in this position. I'm a bit torn because I don't really, personally as a negotiator, I don't like the last-minute endgame stuff. I think it's completely unnecessary. It's a solid document. We should be able to move along. Having said that, I'm prepared to recommend, after speaking to Selectman Cortez and thinking about other things that are going on, that perhaps the best thing to do is to hold off. You do have a meeting on the 23rd scheduled for any number of items, and we would be able to take it up then and decide to keep it on the warrant, still make the deadlines. It's protracting a process that really should be over by now, but in the interest of, one last try here at Comity, C-O-M-I-T-Y, that's my recommendation.
Well, I mean, in essence, they'd have another shot at it at Springtown meeting,
Absolutely.
so.
And they would have to live under the terms of the existing contract, with all of its current provisions, until May.
So what if we took it off the warrant now with the idea that we could put it back on October 23rd? That gives them 2 weeks, because I agree with you, we've put forward a very progressive contract, forward-thinking as it is, and this board has made a fairly large commitment to public safety. At the same time, it is this board that's responsible for making certain the efficiencies of government continue in a manner that does not tie up all your time. So if that spurs action in the next 2 weeks, I say let's do that.
Would we have the opportunity to remove that article prior to town meeting if we postponed to the 23rd?
Could do that too.
Well, I think you would have to leave it on and then pass over it. But the alternative that was suggested is, can you take it off tonight and put it back on the 23rd? I'm still coming up to speed on all the niceties of town meeting law, but I think you can.
You can, it's what, 2 weeks for a special town meeting before the warrant has to be turned into the town clerk? I think it's 2 weeks for special.
That's a town clerk question.
I think it's 2 weeks, because I think it's a week for annual, oh, well, duh. Sorry.
Who are you done?
Tell me
There
here.
was a,
That was a blanket duh, or is that a?
Duh to me. 14 weeks prior to holding the meeting, the town clerk has to have this,
do you mean 14 days?
14 days, you said.
what did I say?
Weeks?
14 weeks.
Oh, 14 days prior, we have to have this posted. So you do have just enough time. But we also have to remember that we need to get a FinCom flyer ready for Finance Committee. They need to make their recommendations, and we have to get everything done so that we can get it to the printer.
So that being the case, you have to close the warrant on Halloween to give
Would
you
that
14
require another
days.
meeting to approve, then bring it back on?
Yeah, I'm reasoning back for a second. So the very last possible point for the clerk to post it would be Halloween. But for us to comply with our internal, I think you go above and beyond the state law, for a FinCom flyer, that's going to take X number of days to be printed and be mailed. The 23rd would be the very last possible opportunity. But, so I think you could open and close it again that night.
I don't know if we want to take it off with the idea of putting it back on. I think the idea would be, whether we take it off tonight and it's permanent, or whether we leave it on pending our meeting on the 23rd. I think those are probably the two most likely or most efficient answers to the
I
issue.
think the second alternative makes more sense, to leave it on and then take it off if you're.
It does. I tend to take a little bit harder of a line, is that my intent this evening was to get the annual town meeting taken care of, ready to go to print, and moving forward, and I believe that that was communicated on all parties, where they understood where we were sitting. In my business, a deadline's a deadline, and if you don't make it, well, then we'll talk to you in the spring. That's
And that was our
where I
final
sat.
offer, right? So take it off. That's what I say.
I have to say, I'm going to probably come down on the side of the town administrator with this. Like him, I dislike all the last-minute shifting and tilting, for want of a better term, although it's probably not the best word. But at any rate, I think that sometimes comes with the territory. And I do agree with the feeling, I think we've given adequate notice, and I think that, our offer is a sound offer. I really don't like going into details, not that anyone did. However, if one more week a meeting on a night when we're meeting anyway, is what it takes to basically make this work, then I would recommend we make the investment in time in doing that. I agree with Kevin, with your position too. We've communicated the deadline before, but I do think that if it makes this work, then we should probably do the investment.
We do want to toe the line on adding more things to that 23rd agenda, right? So we get agenda creep going in if we are committed to
I
meeting.
think that floodgate is,
It has.
Noah's, all two animals of every species has run off the ark.
I haven't been sitting on the negotiating committees, and I don't have a lot of experience negotiating with unions or collective bargaining units, or however you choose to address them. So I will table it, and we will address it on the 23rd, but it would be my expectation that we have an agreement or we don't have an agreement by the 23rd. And if there isn't one, I don't wish to hear any excuses. I want this off the article.
And I think that's a fair position to have, and it almost goes without saying at this point that if the extra week doesn't turn the trick, then I think at that point, we'll talk about it again in the spring.
Yeah, I think that it goes past good faith bargaining at that point.
I don't know if I'd use those terms. I would
Sorry.
echo what the town administrator said, is that the union, the workers, the employees would be bound to the existing contract in place for another 6 months, should we fail to reach an agreement.
Well, I just wanted to go on record saying, I disagree with it. I'll defer to you on this on the 23rd. If we don't have some form of an answer that's come back, then I want this stricken off of the warrant, and we'll move forward, and we'll discuss it when we approach Springtown meeting.
I think that's fair from my point of view.
Anybody disagree with that theory?
No?
Tim?
I think it's sound logic.
All right. So at that point, is there anything else to add, delete, move? Oh, we have to, Article 13, I would entertain a motion to remove that from the warrant.
Refresh my memory as to what article.
Zoning bylaw amendment.
Oh, thank you.
14.
It's
No,
13.
It was 13, right. So moved.
Thought we did that, no?
Yeah.
You did, but that's okay.
It wasn't open. The warrant wasn't
Right.
open, so we couldn't remove it.
That's why I feel that it's best to do it this
And I
way.
think I did the motion before, so I will move again.
Okay.
Made by
Second.
Dave, seconded by Hal. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So with that, I would entertain a motion to close the warrant.
You are
So
so
moved.
good.
So moved.
Second.
Made by Dave, seconded by Hal. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Item 7, insurance coverage for contracted snowplow vendors and possible votes. Mr. Furno.
So, Mr. Chairman, as Mr. Furno makes his way to the table, I'll briefly introduce the topic as probably one of the more frustrating and difficult issues we've dealt with. And recalling somewhat on your experience, Mr. Chairman, as somebody who's plowed snow for a municipality before, a lot of folks don't understand that their personal insurance on their truck doesn't cover them when they're working for somebody else under a contract, nor does it protect the municipality for which they are working.
That is correct.
And this is a fundamental fact of the universe that, from our experience over the last 2 weeks, everyone is in denial about, including Mass DOT, because they've been asked directly, what is your insurance policy with contractors? How do you handle this issue? Because when we try to cover the risk of the town, we actually have private insurance agents pushing back, saying you're going to cost my clients $2,500, $5,000. There's been all kinds of estimates. And it's because they're not businesses. They're not incorporated. They're not. So the rest of the story, is what John's been dealing with as our director over at Highway, and I'll let him tell the story.
Yeah, so we sent a letter to our subs a year ago saying Maya, our insurance company, is looking for $1 million of general liability insurance. Also, $3 million of, $3 million general liability and $1 million auto liability. So we sent that letter to our subs about a year ago, just letting them know that it was coming next year. We wanted to give them enough time. Well, unfortunately, the 11th hour, I sent out the packet a month ago now, and everyone went to their insurance agent with the letter that they got a year ago, and we're panicking. Because I've got some copies of some letters, well, I think you guys may have them in your packet as well, from some of my subs for up to $5,000 a year for insurance. The guys that are in business doing landscaping, tree work and what have you, they already carry the insurance, so it's no sweat to them. They have it because they work year-round, but my core base of subs are retired guys looking for a part-time job, or a painter in town that doesn't need a ton of insurance on his vehicle because he's got the flexibility to leave and go plow snow. So it looks like out of the 15 subs that we use, I'll have 3 back if we enforce this policy. You know, they're leaving for other towns with less insurance. You know, Auburn is very minimal insurance, what we were up till this year. You know, Mass DOT, I've got their packet emailed to me, but I couldn't get a commitment of a dollar number from them. So I spoke to some of the guys that are actually plowing snow for them, and I've gotten different answers. So even from the engineer up there running the snow and ice, I couldn't get a committal email that I could share with you guys on what they're looking for insurance. So I have a great group of subs. They've been with me a long time, and I really don't want to lose them. I don't want to bankrupt them, but we have to protect ourselves as well. So that's why we're here tonight.
Is there a middle ground?
Well, you would think there would be, and I guess that's why we're frustrated, because Maya, in one breath, will tell you this is not a mandatory thing. In the next breath, they don't demonstrate the creativity that I've come to expect from insurance executives, which is you can insure anything. You know, Lloyd's of London will insure anything for a fee. We should be able to pool the risk here and actually have a town policy or a rider that we buy.
And then apportion the cost.
And apportion the cost to the contractors. So, yeah, we all think alike, but we don't get that reaction because, you know, I don't push the boundaries of creativity with Maya. They're very good at what they do, but there's not a lot of creative thinking. So we are kind of stuck balancing the necessity to remove the snow and ice from the roadways for public safety purposes with the risk exposure of the town. The director and I just didn't feel confident making that decision all on our own. It rises to the level of the board for you to direct our activities.
Well, first of all, the insurance thing is why I don't own a plow truck anymore.
Yeah.
So, because Medway pushed that issue pretty hard.
Yeah.
And it wasn't huge expensive, but it certainly, you know, for a vehicle that's only on the road a few months a year, you know, and I think at the time it was like $1,500 for me to get that level of insurance, and
Yeah, and what if it doesn't snow that year?
yeah, I'm out $1,500
correct,
plus the
you
cost
know,
of the truck.
Sure.
And so I mean, I get that part of it, but I mean, I also look at it now as we're getting late into the season, and you know, snow's not far away.
Oh, there's snow flurries in the forecast tonight.
Yeah. So,
Not
I
for
mean,
tonight, but for the next 7 days.
Would it make? You shouldn't have said that, John.
Yeah, no,
You really didn't need to say that.
you're making me check the ballpark score when you
It was
start
2-1.
going luck.
I knew that. I knew it was too.
Do we have the opportunity, and I understand that we sent this out to them last year, and now we're sitting here looking at it not all that far away from, of saying, next year, we'll do some kind of a collective and find something that's more palatable to our contractors.
I guess we have to go to Maya and push. I don't think anything's going to change. I mean, this year, we said, we gave them a year's notice, this is what you got to do, and we increased the rate
Well, we,
to try to
yeah,
accommodate their financial need. And that came before you as
I
well.
remember that, yeah.
I guess
It's too late to get the town insurance policy?
Well, I don't know that it exists, Selectmen, that's the
Okay.
thing. I think if it did, it would have been offered to us by now, because they don't hesitate to sell us products.
out of 15, you said we have how many that are coming back?
right now, there's 3 that have the correct insurance.
So,
I'm reading one of the letters in the package, and I won't put the name in there. The gentleman talks about how he's plowed for the town for years, and he has a near-perfect driving record.
Right.
And this drove him away. Since I was not able to meet your insurance requirements, I contacted other highway departments, and this is as of October 1st. I've already secured a contract for the winter. Thanks for all your help in the past. We lost him.
We did. He signed up for Auburn, to be honest with you.
but I mean, John, bear with me on this one.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
we lose out of 15, we've already lost 1 out of them, right? So we lose another 10. You're not going to have adequate coverage to do the roads.
Whatsoever.
So it's a public safety issue at this point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if these guys aren't willing to come back under the insurance and MIAA is not willing to agree to it, we're at an impasse. And we as a board need to figure out how we're going to deal with this.
MIA's recommendations are recommendations.
That's right.
That's correct.
I would say we roll the dice and go back to MIAA, try and work something out more palatable to our contractors for next year, and try and retain the guys that we have.
I think we have to. I don't see we have much of a choice.
Do the drivers sign any sort of release of liability to the town in connection with their?
We could draft one.
Yeah, we have
That
a,
might be good.
we draft a contract that they sign and we sign.
I think that would be,
It's, yeah, belt and suspenders kind of thing.
Yeah,
We probably
why
should do
not?
that anyway.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
So, Chief, can we throw some plows on the cruisers and have you guys drive around too? Or?
I agree. It's
You got some time to
emergency
shovel
thing
too,
do.
Adam? Or?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Do it.
I just don't see that we have a choice. We kind of have to.
No, we have to do this, yeah.
But I like the idea of saying, enter some kind of an agreement with these guys, and really stress to them, we need to come up with something over the summer months
Right.
so we're in a better position for next year, because, I mean, to be talking about this in October, and then, thanks a lot for telling me about snow flurries, John.
Yes, sorry.
In lieu of the insurance this year, if they sign some sort of a hold harmless agreement with the town,
But I
should be
would,
willing to do that, I would think.
I would say that they should be able to stick at last year's rates, as there's no increase in premium to them.
I can't agree more.
So,
Yeah.
if we're not offsetting anything, there's no reason to raise the rate, and nobody complained about it prior.
Exactly.
So we just gave a raise 2 years ago, so I'm comfortable going back saying that to these gentlemen.
Make a motion that we continue as we have for the past however long we've had snowplows.
As long as I've worked there, it's been this. When I plowed for the town 25 years ago, it was this. So,
Second.
Made by Tim, seconded by Dave. Is there any further discussion on this?
Do the liable hold harmless type of.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
John.
Thank you.
John, don't ever come in here and talk about snow.
All right, I'll find the rest of the score and let you know.
3-2 Red
Don't
Sox.
know, he's trying to DVR it.
Congratulations are in order. I understand you had a heck of a party.
Oh, my gosh. Yes, we did. It was awesome.
Good, congrats.
Very, very good weekend.
Good.
Good.
Item number 8. Special municipal employees designation under Chapter 268A and possible votes. You want to bring me up to speed on this one?
Mr. Chairman, this is a unique creature of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It is an outgrowth of your ethics law. You cannot have one contract with the town and then work under the terms of another, or serve in more than one capacity as an employee if they're designated differently. So where that causes us great harm on the school side is we have all kinds of folks that have varieties of different levels of training around special education. And They may need to be a para in one situation and aide in another, and they're just not, I don't even know if I have those terms correctly, but if they're designated, I guess it's applied behavior therapists and paras, where we're getting the overlap in personnel.
Okay.
So you might fill one role with one student, but then the IEP calls, and you're the best person to go in a different role with a different student. You can't do it right now unless they're special municipal employees. That's a designation that the board has to make.
No additional cost to the town?
Actually, I think in the grand scheme of things, this saves money.
I'm all for it.
I make a motion to designate all school department applied behavior therapists and paraprofessionals as special municipal employees.
I will second the motion I wanted to make.
Sometimes you get what you need, maybe not what you want.
And I will comment that I would have because it saves the town money.
Whatever these guys said. It was made by Al, seconded by Dave. Is there any further discussion on this? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Third reading and approved property use policy. Been any changes to it since the first two readings?
No.
No? Anybody have a motion to approve it?
So moved.
Second.
Made by Dave, seconded by Hal. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. My favorite, assigned motions for the November 13th special town meeting, Hughes.
He wants them all. Why is
I think he
I don't know
does.
why
I
he's
think
so
he does.
demanding like that.
Exactly.
If he's,
I
Have a
think we
good night,
should give
guys.
him his several moments in the sun.
I agree. I agree. I think we should be there long enough
how
to
many
open.
are
town.
there actually that are the selectmen's responsibility?
I wasn't 100% sure,
Yeah, I don't see it reflected.
so I have a
so-
couple of question marks.
Well, which ones do we feel most likely are selectmen's?
1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12? I don't know, our zoning, general bylaws, the marijuana would be you guys, I guess.
Yeah, we want that one.
So,
I'll do Article 12.
well, let's go, can we go in order?
No?
Because I have to write this stuff down.
No. This is payback for all the inaccurate agendas that I've gotten.
I'll take 3.
You say that like there were a lot. Right.
All right.
Number 1,
Article 1,
I'll do 1 and 2.
Wow.
Tim and Tim.
Hughes will do 3 for
Set the
30.
meeting off on the right foot.
you said 3?
I'll take 3.
I'll do 5.
Wait, 4? Who's doing?
I'll take 4.
Okay.
All
Right
right.
after 3.
And I'll do
5?
5.
Okay, all right.
The Blackstone Valley, wouldn't that be the school?
That's why I'm wondering, isn't
BVT?
BVT usually the school, the representative from the BVT that does that?
Yeah. But they never show. So
All right, so
Davis
yeah,
could be the backup.
Backup.
Right.
Mr. Davis
All
will
right,
take
you'll be the
5.
backup. So we don't have to do number 6?
Not right yet.
7,
Mr. Hughes.
Fine choice.
8,
Mr. Hughes.
Agreed.
9,
Mr. Hughes.
Yeah, Mr. Hughes can do those 3, 7, 8, and 9.
10.
I'll do,
No, you don't need to. It's water sewer.
oh, that's
No,
true.
this one's the supplement green
Supplemental green
communities.
communities.
You're
I'll do
using
10
all
through
this,
12.
sorry.
I'll take those 3.
10 through 12, okay.
Yep,
And 13's off.
correct. See, that was easy.
Thank you.
All right. I lost my agenda somewhere in here. Only I would do that. Oh, here we go. So, minutes for the October 2nd, 2018 regular and executive session.
I move that we accept the minutes, Mr. Chairman, retaining the executive session minutes.
Second.
Made by Dave, seconded by Tim. All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Administrator, your report, sir.
Mr. Chairman, it's brief. I think this evening's meeting is my report. Those are all the issues we've been working on, trying to get you ready for town meeting. and the other issues that we mentioned, the contract negotiations. So I think the public, by watching this meeting, is well apprised of what the department heads and the administrator have been working on.
Do we have any old business? Seeing as none. Under new business, just a reminder, I believe it's on the agenda for next meeting, to have your town administrator evaluations set, because I want to get that taken care of. Any other new business? Seeing as none, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Made by Dave, seconded by Tim. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.